Good evening, everyone. Welcome along for the Thursday night Blether. You know I always get the fear when it's just me by myself, so please tell me that you can see me and you can hear me and I'm not just talking away to myself. I am back. I am back on the Blether. I nearly wasn't tonight. I had some laptop drama before we went live, so just down to the wire trying to get going, but we are here. We've got quite a few people on tonight. Give me a shout out so that I know that you can actually see me and hear me. There we go. Evening, Kat. Yeah, evening to you as well. Thank you, Dave. Let's see who's all on. You will see that we are without Mr. Stewart tonight. He is hosting a tasting somewhere in Aberdeen. He's going to try and join us as soon as he can, but it's all good because we've got an awesome guest tonight. So who do we have joining us? We've got Dutch Jura, nice to see you, and Dave. What's Dave got in his glass tonight? Oh, the whiskey that I can never say. The infrequent flyers. There's so many N's in there. I don't know. Who else have we got? Scott, and we have got Dominic, who is on the sherry tonight, a Palo Catardo, very nice. Scott's got man flu, so you're on the Lemsips. Can we get into hot toddy? That'll help you. There's a lot of it going around. Such weird weather today. It's so warm, so then it gets all wet and windy. Who else we've got? Jeremy, nice to see you. And Springer G. Don't know if we've had you on before or whether you've just got a different handle for YouTube, but nice to see everyone. Yeah, I've been missing the chat lately. I've had no internet or pretty bad internet over the last couple of weeks. Missed the chat with Kate Watt last week, which I was gutted about. The internet company closed my account by accident, so the engineer came to fit the internet in my house, and then they shut it off 2 hours later, so I had no internet at all. But I'm back. Slight change of venue for me. I'm not in hospital. It looks like I maybe am in a mental asylum with all the white walls, but I'm in hotel tonight. So yeah, hence the strange lighting. We've got Callum on as well. It's Stephen. You just got a new handle. Nice to see you. And nice to see you, Callum. Right. We've got our proper little blethering crew watching tonight, which is nice. It's nice to see you. It's nice to be back. We have got an awesome guest on. Everyone who is a frequent Blether watcher will know that Glengoyne has become a little bit of a catchphrase on the Blether because of something ridiculous I once said on here. Shock horror. Yes, I did find my cursor. Thank you very much, Callum. I was just telling Devin in the green room before we went live. I was panicking because I opened the laptop, managed to get it up to this hotel, opened the laptop, and there was no cursor. So I was on all these internet forums trying to figure out what to do. But for anybody who has the same problem, there's 3 keys you have to press together on the keyboard, and my cursor came back. So my son must have disabled my cursor by accident. Children, we love them. Right. Let's get our guest on, though. You don't want to know all my dramas. We are going to welcome to the Blether, Devin. Hello.
Hello, Kat. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I feel like I was just having a sort of mental, sort of debrief there of this is all my life's problems, everyone.
Yeah. Just get out there. It's fine. Get out there.
It's quite cathartic. But yeah, when I realised I couldn't get on to chat to you tonight, because obviously we did a bit of back and forth when we realised Michael wasn't joining us, and then I felt so bad because we'd left it all to the quite last minute. I thought, oh no, and now the laptop's not working. But we got there in the end.
We're here now. There you go. We're here now.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you on. And I said to you, so Glengoyne has been a whiskey that me and Mike always bring up because it's so awesome and slightly underrated, I think. It's one of those ones that, because it's quite a good price point, it's just consistent. You just sometimes forget that it's there. You don't forget because you don't like it. You just forget because it's just always doing a good job. It's not shocking you. It's not shouting at you. It's just there, solidly doing its thing?
I've got a very easy job, Kat. Let's say that. I've got a very easy job. I just sit there. We've got a fantastic whiskey. They drink it, they buy it. You know, I go home. There you go. Easy job.
God, you're living the dream. Well, tell us about you though. What is your role? What do you do, and how long have you been doing it? Introduce yourself to our Bletherin.
Okay. Well, I'm Devin, and I am a distillery ambassador at Glengoyne. I've been doing it now. Next year it'll be 4 years. I've been doing it for. So yeah, it's amazing. So I've worked Glengoyne for 4 years, and I've also worked at Rosebank Distillery as well. I worked there. It's the same company, Ian MacLeod Distillers, that own both distilleries. But yeah.
I went to visit Rosebank and Glengoyne a couple of weeks ago. Rosebank was closed. The visitor centre was closed. It's only open certain days of the week, I think.
Yes, it is, yeah.
So we just kind of stopped on an off chance. I'd gone down to visit my boyfriend who's down that way. So we went to go and see the Kelpies because I've never seen the Kelpies before. They are amazing. And we went to the Falkirk Wheel and then went to see Rosebank. What a beautiful, impressive building. I love the way they've kind of just molded the sort of new part of it with the old part of it. It's like it's stonework, it's glass, it's so beautifully done.
They've done a fantastic job on the building. Working there for 6 months, just the blend of old and new. It's just fantastic what they've done, and what they have done, and I love it, is they kept the old chimney. You can see that was very crucial. Kind of keep that because it meant a lot of things to Falkirk and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they kept that. But it's an absolutely stunning distillery, and it's the opposite to Glengoyne. You know, absolutely the opposite. And that's why I loved working there, because coming here to a very traditional kind of manual distillery, then go over there to a kind of automated kind of 21st century distillery. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, no, they've both got a different type of charm. Like Rosebank, I love that about the chimney, the fact that it was just the building's built around about it, and it's got that kind of Victorian kind of beautiful kind of workhorse kind of charm to it. And then go over to Glengoyne, and it's like literally like the witch's cottage at the bottom of the well. Like it's just so cute, so cute. I couldn't believe I'd never been before. Sadly couldn't do the tour, and I think I probably annoyed the staff because we turned up 50 minutes before closing, which me as a visitor centre worker.
As I said to you before, I wasn't working that day anyway, so it's fine.
I wouldn't have been worth it.
yeah, I wasn't working that day, so it's fine.
But yeah, I had no idea that the waterfall literally came in at the back of the visitor centre. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the waterfall is the original source of Glengoyne. So it comes off the Dungoyne Hill, which is the back of the distillery, runs down. And we've actually been flooded by a couple of times as well. It's kind of burst its banks, and the full yard and all that's been flooded. It's lovely to look at, but sometimes it can obviously be a pain if we do get flooded with it. So yeah.
I mean, I suppose you're down sort of west coast where you get a lot of rain, especially at this.
Well, a lot of rain, yeah.
So, what does your daily job look like? Are you predominantly on tours? I know you were at the Glasgow Whisky Festival recently because I didn't see you. Were you there the whole day, or were you just one session?
I was there both sessions, yeah, both sessions.
How did I not see you? I don't think I saw your stand though.
No, I was wearing a kilt, Kat. I don't know if you could miss me. Wearing a bright red kilt, you know. So I don't know. Well, I didn't see you either. So to be fair, I don't know.
I mean, I've never been to that festival before, and like it's vast. Like I kept seeing people's stories, and I was like, oh no, wait, I missed them. So it's so hard to get around everyone, but it's definitely worth doing and very, very cool. Really good vibe.
I mainly do the tours here at Glengoyne, but now and again you do get opportunities to go and do kind of wee bits and bobs like that, like working at the Glasgow Whisky Festival. And last year I went to Germany. Last year did the think it was called the Aquavit Whisky Festival over there. So I did that. So yeah, you do get opportunities to do off-site stuff, but the majority of it is just the tours and hosting tours here at Glengoyne.
Yeah. It's quite a regular sort of tour schedule you guys have, like sort of every hour or.
Yeah. So the first tour, well, kind of in the summer, if you go back to summer, like first tour is at 10 o'clock, and then your last tour is at probably 5 o'clock or something like that. So yeah, and there's different kind of, the tour's the same, but the tasting kind of changes. So like you can obviously do the normal tour, which is 2 drams. You can do the Malt Master experience, which is very popular. You get these 5 samples of cask strength single cask and make your own bottle after doing that. And then probably, again, most popular, the chocolate and whiskey. 3 Glengoynes with chocolate. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that?
Well, exactly. I think the kind of the distilleries I know of that do whiskey and chocolate are usually ones that are sherry matured, because that seems to work really well. Is the bulk of the maturation you guys do in sherry casks?
Yeah. So Glengoyne is kind of known for its kind of sherry maturation, but actually we're actually kind of going out with, because everybody knows that Glengoyne can do sherry. So we're doing more of experimental stuff now. So we've got the White Oak Glengoyne, which is bourbon and American virgin oak. And we've got the Mizunara as well, which is very interesting. That's 10 years in sherry and 6 years in virgin Mizunara.
I saw that in your visitor centre when we were in, because it had beautiful Japanese artistry and like posters next to it, I think.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Notoriously hard wood to work with because it's kind of prone to leaking.
It's kind of good that we're doing that here at Glengoyne as well. It's kind of good, as you said at the start, that it's very approachable, very good price point with Glengoyne, but we are doing more kind of, oh, what's this kind of thing? I've not seen this before, all that kind of experimental stuff now for, if you would say, the kind of whiskey and geeks and all that kind of stuff. So that we're doing more experimental stuff, which is good to kind of trying to please all the kind of markets out there.
Yeah. I think with this year in particular, I don't know if you've seen the same. I think just because the way the world is, people want to get more for their money. So people are making more informed decisions. So they really want to know, okay, I know this brand, but what can I get that's more? So they're kind of looking for either bigger age statements or a variety of different liquids, or, just something different, which I love because, the consumer is more aware of casks, maturations, distillation. So, and for you guys working in the visitor centre, it must be fun to get your teeth behind something a little bit different to talk about and play around with.
Definitely. It is. But there's, as you said, there's just absolute tons of choice out there with whiskey as well, and obviously everybody's analysing everything now and all that kind of stuff. And talking about that before we came on, obviously the Black Friday is on. There's so many deals on whiskey at the moment. I was on one of the whiskey shops. I had like about 10 whiskies in my basket. I'm just like, I can't buy all this. I just can't. But it's good prices. It's good prices. I love a bargain. But I'm just trying to. No, I can't buy that.
I know. I'm avoiding looking because I'm like, Christmas is coming up, and like I just.
I know. I want to buy, but my bank account is screaming at me. I don't know.
So yeah. So Glengoyne, it's a favourite of the Blether because me and Mike will often talk about it as we don't often agree on whiskey because he's a big sherry head, whereas I prefer a sort of refill bourbon. However, like a lot of the cask you use are refill sherries, I think, so you haven't got that full on sort of brown sugar, sort of molasses, sticky note that I don't really enjoy in a whiskey or don't enjoy as much. So we do often reference Glengoyne, but I was at a travel and tourism conference last year or the year before, and there was somebody there from Glengoyne. I can't remember her name, which is terrible. It'll come back to me. That day, you'll know yourself, like you've been talking all day, you've been saying the same stuff over and over to people, and you kind of forget how the connection between your brain and your mouth. So I'd spotted somebody else whiskey in the room because it's all mainly travel and tourism. I was like, oh, but here's somebody whiskey. I'll go up and say hello. And I was like, I love Glengoyne. I love your branding. I love all the goose leaves on the boxes. And she went, yeah. Do you mean feathers? I'm like, yes, feathers, not goose leaves.
Goose leaves. Well, you can call them Goose Leaves if you want, but I don't know how that would go down with branding. But yeah.
Yeah, so ever since then, whenever Mike references Glengoyne, he always just takes the piss and says Goose Leaves. But
I'll add that in my tour, maybe Goose Leaves. Have you seen our Goose Leaves on a bottle?
Famous for the Goose Leaves. Well, it was Mike that told me the story, of course, that the boxes are meant to look like feathers from the geese because the geese all nest or return to the fields behind the distillery.
Yeah, and that's what cool. Glengoyne means in the old Scottish Gaelic language. Goose or gwyn means geese, so Valley of the Wild Geese.
Yeah, that's
what
cool.
Glengoyne means.
The old distillery name used to be in the Gaelic, and then was it in like the sort of 1900s they changed it to more phonetic spelling of it, or like a.
Or I heard it was like a. Don't know if it's true, but I heard like it was a printing error or something like that. Somebody handed it in wrong and it was spelt wrong. I don't know if that story's true, but it was a printing error, and so somebody put in it was supposed to be Glengoyne, and they spelt it Goyne. And it's just been stuck with Goyne. Nobody's bothered taking the change it, but yeah.
No, I'd love it if that's true because it'd be so Scottish, isn't it? What am I going to do? Is like we've got 1,000 of these boxes. I've just spent a fortune on it. We'll just change the name. Change the name.
Yeah. Just change the name. Nobody will notice. Fine.
Talking of whiskey, though, have you got something in your glass tonight? Are you drinking?
I do.
Tonight?
We've not even mentioned that yet. That's the most important. But obviously, I'm at Glengoyne, so it's got to be a Glengoyne in my glass. And it's actually, was it today? I think today is the first time I've tasted this. It's the new Glengoyne teapot dram.
I wanted to ask you about it because it
was released on Thursday. The teapot.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was trolling through the website earlier when I realised we were going to chat tonight. And I wanted to ask you, what's the story behind, because it's just such a cute name. Why is it the teapot dram? Where does that come from?
So I picked the teapot because it's probably my favourite dram that we do here at Glengoyne, and it's the favourite story. So thank you for asking me to tell a story, because I love that. So the story about the teapot dram is basically back in the day when the people that used to work here at Glengoyne used to be obviously drinking whilst we're working. And they used to have 3 drams a day. Obviously, a dram is not a measurement; it's kind of what you make it. We've got people that came here not that long ago. Duncan and Billy, they're retired stillmen that used to work here at Glengoyne, and they told the stories about the teapot dramming days. And it was funny because Billy came and he said that this was a dram. Billy is still alive. I don't know how, but he is. But yeah, and how I don't know. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how any work got done if people are drinking 3 of these. How's any work getting done? I don't know.
I know. So when you look at a dram, so I'm predominantly at Glengarry, and guys, if you're playing the Glengarry game, take a drink. But I also do Ardmore. So Ardmore is not open to the public, but it's got this beautiful archive. So the teacher's family kept everything, and I mean everything. And they have the original dramming cups there. And they're honestly, hang on 2 seconds, I'm in a hotel room, so I'm going to grab.
I'll be cheeky bit of teapot.
So the dramming cup that they have at the distillery, it's kind of like made out of like a sort of like a heavy metal, and it's about that size. Like it's massive. And this is what they would queue up and get 3 times a day from like the manager and the excise man. So of course the excise man was there on site. And yeah, I mean, that's insane. And it was incentivized as well, right? So if they were doing a really good job, if the mill was running really efficiently, or, they'd managed to get like an extra turn of the floor that day, or whatever, they'd get another reward dram. It's insane.
Yeah. So they used to have 3 drams a day. Some of the kind of new folk that were starting here, some of the younger folk were like looking at the older folk and saying, wait a minute, I don't want 3 rams a day. I mean, I don't want to have a problem or something like that. So in the break room here at Glengoyne, they had a copper teapot, and they would pour all the unwanted drams into the copper teapot. And at the end of the week, they would all go up to the break room and have another cup of tea or another dram. So yeah, that was, they used to go up and have a wee nip.
An infinity teapot.
Yeah, basically what we call now an infinity bottle kind of thing. You know, that's what they were doing kind of thing.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a really good story, and it's you know, it's a really important whiskey as well, because it's basically, it's not just a whiskey, it's the legacy behind it. Obviously of Glengoyne, about what they used to do back in the day. So that's why it's called teapot dram, because they used to drink drams from the teapot.
That's awesome. I absolutely love that. And I love the fact that they've delved into a part of history to, you know, and sort of brought that story forward as well. Because
another thing that Duncan said as well is when the teapot was full, he used to leave it on the windowsill. So when you walk down the yard, and if you've seen the teapot in the windowsill, it means it was full. So it means quickly come up, it's full. Come up for a cup of tea. So all these wee kind of nuggets and all that, I love all that kind of stuff. You know. Great.
Yeah. Definitely, especially if you have old staff members coming in who can kind of relive some of those stories as well. It's so important, because a lot of those things are lost until you speak to locals, or until you speak to like the ex-workers. It's these little wee nuggets that are not written down in the sort of glossy brand stories, but appear, and you think we should be celebrating that. That's so unique.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think I know any other distilleries well with the length of stories that Glengoyne's got. I mean, that's just one story. There's absolutely tons of other stories that Glengoyne's got. And that's, again, I've got an easy job, because I've got all these stories. Even like if I'm on tour or something like that, and there's somebody behind me or something like that on a tour, I'm just like, right, okay, I'll get my book full of stories out. Let's what story should I say this time, you know? But yeah, there's tons of stories. I'm actually, where I'm sitting now is the old distillery manager's house. All the distilleries manager's family lived in this house, and there was a guy back in the day, 1876. His name was Cochrane Cartwright. He was a manager here, but in 1899 he was found dead in the waterfall in the pond. He used to live in this house, and we all still say here at Glengoyne that his spirit is still in here. So it's pitch black outside. I'm in here myself, so yeah, I'm just a wee bit scared.
Okay, that's a bit spooky.
Yeah, I don't know if Cochrane's just about to come out and scare me. I don't know.
Well, you've got the teapot out. He's going to know it's dram time. He's going to come for a dram.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm scared about. Like, it's my teapot, Cochrane. My teapot.
Has anybody seen a ghost or like felt a presence there, or is it just stories, do you think?
Now before I say this, I don't believe in ghosts at all. But when I first started here, I was doing a tour, and I was at the mash tun, and there's a wee bit at the back. So I'm standing at the back of the mash tun. There's a wee bit at the back where the worker normally stands. Now there was nobody there. I checked before, nobody. But I was talking to the guests, speaking about the mash tun, and I did feel a tap on my shoulder. I did, and I looked around, there was nobody there.
No.
Now, I don't believe in ghosts, but I definitely had that tap on the shoulder.
I think the fact that you don't believe in ghosts makes it more convincing, because, like, you know, people who are susceptible to ghost stories are always looking or hoping they're going to see something. But, like, if you're like flat out, don't believe in ghosts. But yeah, something that taps on the shoulder makes it a bit more creepy.
When people tell me ghost stories, I'm like, oh, sure you did. It's probably the pipes or something like that. That's that wee creak, or probably a floorboard or something. But I did have a tap on the shoulder. I did. So, and there's other stories as well. One of my colleagues said in the room just across from me, she was tidying up, and there was nobody in the room, but she picked up a tray, and there was somebody sitting on the couch, and she said, "Oh, are you not going there?" And then she turned round, and there was nobody there. But she says she's seen a figure on the couch.
Oh my gosh. So I wrote an article for Mike about ghost stories at distilleries, but I didn't know you guys had ghost stories. So
Yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
we've got tons. Yeah. Welcome to the Halloween special of the Blether. Yeah, we're supposed to Christmas, but we're doing Halloween, I think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, talking about the room you're in, that's an impressive cabinet behind you. You're going to have to explain what's going on there. While you're doing that, I'm going to go and find my dram, but you can tell the guys what that amazing...
I will do.
Is it like
I will do.
little sample bottles?
Yeah. So behind me, I don't know if I should move this or not. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. You can see that there. So what that is we used to do buy your cask scheme here at Glengoyne, and behind me are all the samples from privately owned casks. So if you're a cask owner here at Glengoyne, you might go a wee tour, and then you'll come in here, we'll pick out your sample, and you can taste your sample from your cask. So yeah, it's a very cool room.
That is very cool. So how often would you take out samples for people, or is it upon request if they want to just see how their cask is maturing?
It's every year, so we don't do the scheme anymore. We stopped it a couple of years ago, so you can't buy a cask anymore. On a daily basis, I still get asked, "Can we buy a cask?" No, that's the answer. But yeah, so if you did buy a cask, it would be every single year we've got to take a sample out. When I say we, I don't. The production do that. It's too important. It's too important for me to do that. But yeah, so that's all behind me. So yeah, even I wanted a cask. Even I wasn't even allowed a cask. They were like, "No, Devin, no."
I mean, that's nice though, because somebody... On you go.
I do have a cask, and it's from Glengarry.
No.
I do have a cask at Glengarry. Yes.
Awesome. So, oh my gosh, I'm going to need more details. What's it in? How old is it? How's it coming along?
It is 10 years old. It's first fill bourbon, and it's coming along very good. It's coming along very good. I tasted it. Was it last year I tasted it, and I describe it as kind of tropical bubblegum. That's how I describe it. It's really kind of fruity, kind of sweet. It's amazing.
So as soon as you said first fill bourbon, I was just going to try and interrupt you there and be like, "Oh my god, it's going to be tropical fruits. It's going to be peaches. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a bit of honey in there." And then you just exactly summed up what I was hoping it was going to be. I love that.
Yeah. I didn't get it directly from Glengarry. I got it from Mark Blether, Bear de Mark.
Yes.
Yes, so I got it from him, and it's getting stored at Claxton's Independent Bottlers. That's where it's getting stored. So down in Dumfries.
Yeah.
They are. Yes, they're storing stuff for Mark. So yeah, so I get to go down there. I get to taste my cask, and obviously get to taste whatever they have on offer. So yeah, it's good.
That's amazing. We've had Adrian on the Blether before.
Yes.
Adrian, is it Hoos? His last name is House. Hoos. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then I think
I've taken Tom and Adrian are the directors, I think, of the company. I've taken them around Glengoyne on a tour. So the first time I went down there, obviously, I was just like, "You've got to come up here." So when I came up here, I took my tour around here. So yeah, they're nice guys. Lovely guys.
Oh, amazing. That's fantastic.
I did warn them as well that
if
anything happens to my cask, then that's it.
Yeah. You'll send the ghost on them.
Yeah, I said Cochrane's coming down there if anything happens to my cask.
He's going to sort you. I mean, it's nice to have that connect. So a lot of people, and probably people in the chat as well, own casks. But often you own casks, but you can't really go and visit them. You know, you've got to request a sample through maybe a broker. It's so nice people can just come up to you and be like, "Okay, I want to," they get taken to this beautiful room and this cupboard opened up and they've got that sort of connect with their purchase, which is, it must be a lovely feeling for people. And a sort of a surety of appearance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, it's very cool. For Jeremy, who asked, do I have a Glengoyne cask? No, I don't have a Glengoyne cask. I would love to have a Glengoyne cask, but no, I don't have.
Well, if you wait 6 years, you might do.
I'm trying to.
Because I'll sell mine to you. Wait 6 years.
Okay, I'll have to do a couple. I'll have to do a couple extra shifts before then.
In 6 years, Marco phone you. Marco phone you.
Do you know? I better be the first on his phone. Definitely should. I was just trying to keep up with the chat, but my computer's been really weird because I saw there were some questions for you. It's just not letting me toggle up to. There was somebody asking what you are bringing to the. There it is. It's Willis. Hi, Willis. He's asking what you're bringing to Dram Busters on Saturday. Is there anything under the table? Well, he can't reveal that.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what we're bringing. I don't know. I mean, obviously the Glengoyne core range will be there definitely. Obviously, probably the Mizzenara will probably be there. I don't actually know exactly what drams are going to be there, but the Glengoyne, so everything's going to be nice. Glengoyne, Tamdhu will be there as well. Rosebank, well, maybe not Rosebank because it's quite expensive, but yeah.
I saw somebody on the chat was actually on the Tamdhu tonight, and that's quite a popular one too, because it's quite a sweet, light, approachable whiskey also as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't see who it was on the Tamdhu. Everyone's chatting away tonight, so I keep missing all the questions. Usually Mike is the one that's good at keeping an eye on the questions for me. If you have sent a question in, guys, and I've missed it, just pop it fresh into the chat because I'm having problems getting it to scroll back up to the top. The joys of technology. A little chat happening, which is good to see. People love the story. There's quite a few brands under the Ian McLeod's banner, though, isn't there? You've got it's Edinburgh Gin you guys have got, and
yeah, we've got Edinburgh Gin as well. Yeah,
like Lang's Rum.
Lang's Rum, yeah. So Edinburgh Gin, Lang's Rum, obviously Glengoyne, Tamdhu, Rosebank. We've got Smokehead as well. That's a kind of growing popular whiskey, Smokehead. What else? We have. Yeah.
There's a delay between us, so I keep talking over you by accident, but the Smokehead one was always really popular.
Yeah.
It was always really popular at the whiskey shop because it's got quite a cool box, so people quite liked it as a gift because it's like a little bit edgy. The box, isn't it? It's kind of funky, kind of makes the whole peak thing.
The bottle's black as well, and there's a skull on it as well. So yeah, the story behind Smokehead as well, how that brand came about is a really good story as well. But yeah, we've got a distillery, not just in Scotland. We've got a distillery over in India as well. So we're making Indian single malt over there. I think that's called Una, that distillery. So yes, we've got a distillery over there, and we've just built the 11th distillery on Islay as well. So we've got a new distillery opening up there, Lagan Bay.
Yes. That's it. So what stage are they at with that, and whereabouts is it exactly on Islay? I can't think that I've seen
It's at the airport, so it's basically just as you fly into Islay. It's at the airport at Lagan Bay. So yeah, that's the finished building it. I think they'll be up and running. Hopefully, making new make spirit in kind of March, April time if everything goes to plan. Hopefully, I'll go over and see it sometime. But I know people that have been and seen it, and they said it's a really incredible site. So yeah, it's really exciting times over there with Lagan Bay. They're just planting at the moment the wetlands. At the moment, we've got wetlands here at Glengoyne. Obviously, that filters some of the waste products from distillation. But yeah, so they're planting that now. So yeah, it's going along quite well.
That's amazing, and it's so good to see sort of progress and a happy story during this year, which has been a little bit of a strain for the industry while it kind of just adjusts to the world. And I especially love that you are replicating the wetlands, because one of the first things I learned about you guys at Glengoyne was this amazing wetlands project you got for filtering the spent lees from distillation, which kind of obviously is for biodiversity and I guess the geese that you have around the distillery.
Yeah, the geese as well. Yeah. I mean, here at Glengoyne, we're really kind of pride ourselves on sustainability as well. So we've got the wetlands, and I think I'm right in saying this, Glengoyne was the first distillery to have the wetlands, and it was extremely successful. I know tons of distilleries have got them on the back of Glengoyne getting them. So yeah, if you can say we're even pioneers in sustainability. But yeah, so we do quite a lot with sustainability, and we've done a couple of, was last month, I think, a special release came out of Glengoyne. It was a partnership with the Wetlands Trust. We did a single cask with them. So yeah, that's, if you ever see that, get that, because that's an incredible Glengoyne. I tasted it, and it's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, I need to look out for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be a good
I love
collector's.
that. You know, that sort of. Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, I love that, and I always say this to people on tours: we're all trying to be more sustainable at distilleries, you know, but we are factories. We're workhorses. So it's quite hard to sometimes fit that new technology in around old buildings, but to innovate something completely new around about the distillery is absolutely fantastic. And you know, to then replicate that at other sites and have other distilleries replicate that is very, very cool. Just looking. Okay, I knew you'd ask this question. So Callum is on every week, or as often as he can be, and he asks the same question every week. So, and bearing in mind there is a right answer to this. Usual guest question: which is your as long as you say Glen Scotia, you're fine. Which is your favourite distillery from each of the regions? So, favourite distillery from each region, locality: Highland, Lowland, Speyside, Islay, Campbellton, not including your own brands.
And you're asking a lover of whiskey this question. It's very hard. From Lowlands, I'm going to choose Lochlee, because that's just a fantastic distillery. Highlands, let me think. Highlands.
You own quite a special cask from the Highlands. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
There is a distillery called Glengarry. That's quite a good one. Yeah. That's quite good. Am I safe? Yes, sir. Islay. Let me think. Islay. Do you know? I'm going to pick and see this distillery. I think it's very underrated. Kalila.
Yeah.
I love Kalila. I think it's very underrated. But I've got some kind of indie bottles of Kalila, and they're just all phenomenal. So yeah. So Glengarry, Lochlee, Kalila, and from Campbelltown, I would actually pick Glen Scotia from there.
Perfect. So Callum is a huge Glen Scotia fan, probably the biggest Glen Scotia fan in the world. So you definitely answered right there.
At least you didn't say Springbank.
I mean, I'm sure you love Springbank too. But you know, Glen Scotia is such an awesome spirit. Did we get any
I think they do. They do
questions?
something in there. See, what do you call it? Springbank. I think they do something in there with people because they come out and all they can say is Springbank, Springbank, Springbank. Like it's like an army. Create an army or something like that.
They've got
the
some sort of
Springbank
mind
robots.
control. Well, do you know the Springbank army they're committed, you know, they get tattoos, like the devotion is unreal. But I also like the fact that people are devoting themselves to a distillery that is proper old school. They are floor malt, they are directly fired, they are small batch. So, you know, if you're going to dedicate yourself to somebody, then, you know, definitely somebody that's got a bit of heart and soul behind it. Glengarry is also floor malt and direct firing, but, you know, I'm not seeing that many tattoos yet, but it will happen.
I do. I mean, I do like Springbank. I've tasted a couple of their whiskies, and it's really, really nice stuff. A couple of years ago, I had somebody on tour, and they've just came from Springbank, and obviously I'm giving the chat about Glengoyne, blah blah blah, and then they were like, "Oh well, it's Springbank to do this," and I was like, "Oh, that's quite interesting." And then we went on to the other thing, and they were like, "Well, Springbank does it this way." After the 55th time of them saying Springbank does it this way, I felt like, well, Glengoyne, mate, but anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Springbank do it differently from most places, to be honest. So you can't. And it's like trying to compare apples and pears, isn't it? You know, you guys are doing something very different, which is what I was actually going to ask you. So the website talks about you guys being the slowest distillation, which makes sense because you've got this really light, fruity kind of floral house style. But how slow is slow? So, like, what's your distillation time?
Well, to be honest with you, it's the slow stills. It's all about obviously copper contact because that's what we want here at Glengoyne. I mean, it comes through the middle bowl. The new make spirit comes through 3 litres per minute, which is very slow, 3 litres per minute. And obviously, when they're on, whoever's on spirit at that time won't go any faster than 3 litres per minute. They'll keep it at that. But if you say to me what the slow stills, it means to me, it's all about copper contact, really, because here at Glengoyne, we want that very kind of estery spirit. So we want as much copper contact as possible. So that's, to me, slow stills, that's what it means. It means much copper contact as possible. And obviously we obviously distill twice here at Glengoyne, but we've got 3 stills because they split the spirit still into 2, basically. Which a lot of people are confused around. They come on tour and they're like, "Oh, you're triple distillation. You've got 3 stills," and it's like, but we like to trick you. It's actually we split 1 still into 2. So yeah, we do like to trick people here. We don't like to make it, simple. We like to make it a little bit complicated,
Well, again, it's that misconception as well, though, because you are a bit further down. So it's that debate about whether you guys are Highlands or Lowlands, and I think somebody has said that the distillery is on one side and the warehousing is on the other side, which makes you kind of half and half, like a hybrid of the 2 regions. But the Lowlands traditionally have been triple distilled, so I guess maybe people are thinking, "Oh, I'm south, I'm seeing 3 stills, they've got a light spirit, they must be triple distilled." But what is the definition? Are you Highlands? Are you Lowlands? Because I wrote up on my stories after I saw you guys down in the Lowlands, and so many people messaged me back and said, "No, you're in Highlands." I'm like, all right.
We are Highlands because Scottish whisky law states wherever your stills are located, that's your designated area, and our stills are in the Highland whisky region. But the dividing line is outside of our distillery, as you said. So our stills are in the Highlands, but we mature our whisky in the warehouses, which are in the car park, and the car park and the warehouses are in the Lowland whisky region. So yes.
That's so funny. So you literally step from one region into the other after you've parked your car up and then go into the
Yep.
visitor centre.
You park your car in the lowlands, and you've got to travel all the way to the Highlands, which is across the road. Yeah. I do a wee joke in my tour about that. I get a big laugh, you know.
Well, it's interesting though, and it does show. So I do see value in the whiskey regions, whether it's just a tool for education, or whether it's a historical reference, or whether it's just trying to summarize a house style. Because I know we all experiment. You all have, you've got your Spacesides that have peat, you've got your islands that are, sort of quite Spacesidey. But I do like the sort of the model of like sort of putting them into regions. But again, your distillery obviously shows how fluid that is, and it's not the fact that it's not a sort of a rule for each single a single region as well, which is interesting. It is interesting, but yeah, it's definitely a quirky part of you guys.
Yeah, and obviously, if you come here to Glengoyne as well, you would never think in a million years you're 13 miles outside of Glasgow. You would never think. You step into Glengoyne, you think you're in the middle of the countryside. It's just amazing.
100%, yeah. It's so green and beautiful around there. But then, anywhere in Glasgow that you are, you're not far from looking out at some sort of greenery. It's even though it's quite a big built-up city, you're not that far from the countryside. But you do forget just how close you are to Glasgow when you're there.
And the funny thing is as well that I live half an hour away from here. I've worked here for 4 years, as I said at the start. But before I worked here, I've never been here before. Why?
Is that right?
Why? Yep. I don't know why. I just don't know, because when I started working here, I was like, why have I never been here? I'm half an hour away. It's crazy.
I think it's, when it's on your doorstep, you don't know, because if you're preparing to go out for the day, you're going away from home. But yeah, I was the same with with Glengarry. I knew it was in the town of Old Meldrum, but I didn't know where. So when I got the interview for the job, I had to phone my mum. I was like, where's the distillery? I just had no idea. And it's like buried right in the middle of the town. But yeah, I'd never been. I'd been to Glenmorangie, I'd been to Glenfiddich, I'd been to, McCowan, I'd been to all the sort of big famous ones, but I'd never been to the one that was literally on my doorstep. So you're not alone.
Yeah, and you just, for some reason, you never do what's on your doorstep. It's crazy.
So you'll be picking up quite a lot of footfall from just the Glasgow tourists. Do you do like a lot of Rabbies tours, bus tours, that sort of vibes?
Yeah, we do a lot of kind of bus tours. We get a lot of footfall off the West Highland Way, which is at the back of our distillery.
Okay, cool.
So we get a lot of, in the summertime, tons of kind of walk-in customers coming off the West Highland Way. And we're at the start of it as well. So you've just started a walk and you come and you see a distillery and you think, we're about 10 minutes in, but I want a drink now, So they just come here to Glengoyne. But I think when I was going to say whoever built this distillery was George Connell. He did a really good job because he built it 13 miles outside of Glasgow at the back of the what is now the West Highland Way. It's just the perfect location.
No, 100%. You can just see that it's obviously would have started out as a perfect location for an illicit still, it's hidden behind, because the waterfall is quite a high kind of cliff edge.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a little wee kind of hollow. Yeah, walking distance, horse and cart distance from the sort of railway lines of Glasgow and surrounding areas. And then, once you're in Glasgow, it opens you up to markets, onto the ships and around the world. It's ideal whiskey making location.
An ideal location here.
Amazing. I think one of the guys in the chat was saying that they'd just done the West Highland Way, but I can't find where it is. But it's reminded me of another question I saw for you from Stephen. That's, what's your favourite indie bottler?
Obviously, I would say Clarkson's, because they're doing amazing stuff now. and they're storing my casks, so I've got to. Who else? I mean, there's tons, like even North Star's doing really good stuff at the moment. There's just tons. I mean, indie bottlers now are I think they've got all the really good stuff. Indie bottlers, they're just really kind of indie bottlers. The game is just really good at the moment with them.
You don't often see Glengoyne released independently. Is it never really sold reciprocally? I can't even say that word. Sold.
I've seen it a couple of times in indie bottlers, but not often. But I've seen it a couple of times.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think I've never really spotted it. You see Tamdhu now and again. But yeah, it'll be probably not the most common one out there. But yeah, it'd be cool for you as a, you also get to talk about it within the confines of, your brand home. But yeah. I sometimes love seeing Glengeary's out there. Dave, who's on the chat, actually has got an amazing collection of independent Glengeary's. And then when you see them being released independently, they can play around different casks, different finishes, push the boundaries of maturation a little bit. So it's fun to see what your spirit can do in somebody else's hands.
That's what Thingy's doing at the moment. Lady of the Glen. They're doing a lot of kind of cask finishing and all that kind of stuff at the moment.
They are. So Lady of the Glen is where I'm going to be going in the next 10 minutes or so, because I'm currently in a hotel in Elgin, because they are doing a tasting just up the road. So so they are. My boyfriend is our brand ambassador, so they are doing some fantastic finishes. I'm not on commission from them, but
I know. Good that I brought that up. You get that in. Get that in there. There you go.
Exactly. They haven't done a Glengeary yet, though. So hashtag just saying, like, sort yourselves out.
No. Well, hopefully they'll do a Glengoyne as well.
Yeah. Well, so he's from your neck of the woods. He's Glaswegian, so I'm sure he would love to bottle some Glengoyne. Do you know there's some fantastic spirit coming out from Glasgow just now as well? Like Glasgow Distillery are doing some awesome liquids. There's just some really cool spirit coming from down your neck of the woods, and it's good to see as well.
No, it's really good. It's really good as well. And as I mentioned before about down in Ayrshire, obviously we've got Lochlee down there. They're doing some fantastic stuff down there. They've released I've just tasted their red wine cask, matured and phenomenal whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, so I love the whole story of Lochlee, the fact that they really stuck to that sort of single farm kind of vibe, they really kind of push into that. I don't think they do it anymore, that kind of seasonal release of the what was it called? It was called the farrow and the tilling and the whatever else. So it's all related to like the farm terms, like the seasonal part of the farm. But for like a young spirit as well, it's just good quality. Like with time and wood, you can just see them kind of going from strength to strength as well.
Yeah. And obviously, we've Ian McLeod's got a connection with them as well now. Obviously, the guy who started it all up, Malcolm Rennie, we poached him for Rosebank. So he was Rosebank distillery manager. So he got Rosebank up and running, and now he's distillery manager of Lagan Bay, our new distillery over in Islay. So he's went back to his hometown over there, and he's managing that distillery.
Oh, that's cool. It's funny how a lot of managers at distilleries are Elichs, from Islay, because Lochlee used to be John Campbell, who was Lafroig, of course.
Yeah.
And then I think he's out making bourbon in the US now. I think he's like a proper cowboy. But yeah, there's something quite comforting. Go on.
He's a nice guy, Malcolm Rennie. And he's one of these guys that he starts up a distillery and then he just leaves and then starts up another distillery and then leaves that. He's one of these kind of start up a distillery and leave.
I think There's something quite comforting about that as well, though, because to them, they don't see the celebrity behind that title of, distillery manager or master distiller. Us as whiskey geeks would meet people and be like, oh my gosh, he was involved in this distillery, and then he got this one up and running, and then he moved to this one, and we'd be like starstruck. Whereas they just see it as a job of like, yep, did that. That was my job. I finished it. I'm going to go move on to the next thing. It's just something very sort of non-conceited about that whole thing, which is pretty cool, to be honest.
And funny story about Malcolm as well. There was one day when I was working up at Rosebank. I was standing there. I was standing in the reception, and there was somebody coming to fix an alarm or something like that, and the alarm guy was here or something like that. He came out of his office. I have met him as well 3 times before this, by the way. He came out of his office, took my hand, and he was like, the alarm's over here, but you've not been here before, have you not? And I'm standing there with a Rosebank uniform on, with my name badge on, and I'm just like, I work here, Malcolm, I work here. And he's like, oh, yes, sorry, where is he? So yeah, Malcolm Rennie thought I was the alarm guy.
The alarm guy.
The alarm guy. So we got him back up because at the one of the parties we were at, I was just like, I'm here to fix the alarm. So we got him.
That's it. He probably meets so many people that he kind of had a vague, recognition of you, just couldn't quite place you, and then the alarm's going off. So I'm sure it's just a blip.
Yeah, it was an easy mistake. It was an easy mistake.
We've got an interesting question for you from Reb. So Reb joins us every week, and he and correct me if I'm wrong, Reb, but you curate a list of all the kosher whiskies that are available to buy. So he's asking you about the first non-sherry Glengoyne, which is your bourbon and virgin oak, which is the one we were speaking about at the start. Reb just joined the chat. So he's just asking what the story behind it is, the white oak. I guess, is this part of the core range now? Is this something that, kosher people will always be able to get?
So the story behind the white oak, it's a part of a new range that we're doing here at Glengoyne called the Oak Master Series. And again, it's just about that everybody knows that Glengoyne can do sherry perfectly fine. We're known for that, but the Oak Master Series is to show the kind of everybody in the market that we can do other stuff, and our kind of spirit, Glengoyne spirit, can be really good in bourbon, very good in Mizunara, really good in other stuff that we've got coming up. So the white oak, it's matured in first fill bourbon and American virgin oak. So I think it's about 95% bourbon, 5% virgin oak, and that virgin oak gives it a very kind of spice, but it's more of a kind of woody spiciness than cinnamon, but a really nice Glengoyne as well. So it's lovely.
No, I've had it before. I was really, really impressed with it. It's absolutely lovely. And then there's just, so you get so much bang for your buck with Glengoyne as well, because it's, it's not stupid prices. It's affordable. You don't feel guilty because it could be a drinking whiskey. You're not kind of wishing you'd never opened the cork on it. So
and a very popular one at whiskey festivals as well. Whiskey festivals, we always get asked for the 18 and now the white oak. Very popular.
Awesome. So how would you characterise Glengoyne if we haven't convinced people by now that they should either visit it or be drinking it or buying it or experimenting with it? How would you sell it to our Blether?
Well, I mean, if you do visit Glengoyne, you'll realise that we are the most picturesque distillery. I'm not just saying that, we have been named the most picturesque distillery, and if you visit us, you'll see that. It is very approachable, and actually coming on to the Whisky Festival, Glasgow Whisky Festival, I realised how important Glengoyne is. There was actually tons of people saying Glengoyne was the first dram I've ever had. Glengoyne was the first distillery I ever visited, and that's what got me into whiskey, because they come here and they discover that we are not very peaty. We're non-peated, so you'll never find a peated Glengoyne, and we're just very approachable. So we do get quite a lot of people into, don't really like using the kind of term, but their whiskey journey. Glengoyne starts that whiskey journey off for them. And I mean, it's to be your first distillery and your first dram. I'm not just saying this because I work here, but if you pick Glengoyne as the first distillery and your first dram, you're doing something right already, just going into that distillery. But yeah, very approachable, absolutely stunning scenery. And if you come for a tour, you might get me as a guide. So what else? What else do you want? What else?
It's a win-win.
Yeah, I know. You'll get a guy in a kilt. So there you go.
Do you wear kilts just as your daily uniform?
Yeah. I wear a kilt all the time when I'm working. Yeah. And I wear my family tartan as well.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to come back, and I'm going to come back on a day that you're working. So I'd say final question to sum up the night is, what is the future for Devin in the whiskey world? Is it work your way up through Ian McLeod, or have you got greater ambitions or something in the whiskey industry you'd love to dip your toes into? Brand ambassadorial, sensory stuff? Ops?
I would like to work my way up to through Ian McLeod, if anybody from Ian McLeod is watching. Hint, hint, hint. But yeah, so I mean, when I started here, I really wanted to do traveling. I wanted to do kind of travel around, doing whiskey festivals, doing kind of hosting whiskey tastings and all that around the place. Obviously, I've mentioned that I did go to Germany. I absolutely loved that. It was a blast. But I did kind of evaluate and say, do I actually want this to be my job? I love traveling, and I love meeting new people and all that kind of stuff. But I evaluated it, and I was just like, maybe not. Maybe now and again, maybe do a wee bit of traveling here and there, but not as my job. What I do like now is social media. I like social media. I like taking pictures, all that kind of stuff. So maybe something whiskey and social media-esque, maybe something in that. So that's kind of marketing.
Yeah, I think there's so much room for that just now, and it's such a useful tool as well. You know, there's a fantastic whiskey community on Instagram, which I've just started to realise as well, and that filters out into other things, such as things like this, live chats, podcasts.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, and yeah, like you get some beautiful photography of, like, you know, just whiskey bottles, and I try and dabble around with it a little bit, but I've got a phone full of pictures, and my problem is by the time I get home, I just can't be asked to do anything with them, and I'm just not very good at making reels. It's that whole transition thing that I'm not very good at, but I would love to learn more. So I know what you mean.
There's just a lot of everything's on social media now: Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. Everything, and you're seeing a lot of, I think, a lot of marketing, a lot of kind of consumption on that is from social media. So it is a really big business. If you want your brand to shine and your brand to be heard, obviously, absolute tons of whiskies out there, and there's more distilleries opening up. When their whiskey gets to mature level, they'll be coming out. So the market is so noisy. So for your brand to be heard, your social media has got to be, I would say, on point. So yeah.
No, definitely. Jeremy, yes, my old Instagram whiskey friends were fantastic also. You're included in that troop of friends, definitely. But yeah, it's always nice meeting more and more people out there. We've got one more question before we let you escape for the night, and it's just from Reb again, who is determined that you're called Angus. But we'll stick with the name. Devin. Also,
that's my name.
We'll just stick with your actual name. If people want to find you on Instagram, actually, your handle is just your name, isn't it? It's Dev. Is it Dev Ham?
Dev Ham. So Follow,
So
comment, subscribe, all that stuff. The Death Ham.
yes, go and look. So Reb's question was, are you going to continue experimenting with Scottish oak?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Okay.
That might give you a hint. I mean, I'm scared because they've got on top of the dog ventilator, they've got a sniper on top of there just in case I see anything. The red dot's on my chest at the moment, so you know. Because I'm not saying anything, that should give you a hint of yes, we are.
There you go, Reb. You winkled out a secret for the night. Well done, you. That's fantastic. Well, do you know, it's been so much fun chatting to you. I don't think Mike's going to join us tonight. He did say he was going to try and get on, but I don't think it's going to happen. But honestly, you are now a friend of the Blether, so please come on whenever you have a free moment. It would be awesome to have you on. And like I say, Glengoyne is always going to be a favourite of mine and Mike's, and it's always going to get a mention on the Blether. So it'd be awesome to have you back on again at some point. We'll find out how your whiskey journey is going.
Yeah. No, I've loved being on. Thanks for having me on, Kat. It's been really good.
No, it's been awesome. For everyone else, next week potentially is going to be our last week before Christmas. There's speculation we might do a week after. It just depends on nailing down a guest. But next week we've got, and I'm so excited about this because I've been trying to get them for about 2 years and diaries haven't managed to gel. We've got the Whisky Sisters on next week. So they have a podcast. It's Inca and Jen. So I caught up with them at the Glasgow Festival where I managed to completely miss poor Devin. So we've got them on next week. So it's going to be good fun, and we'll have, yes, get your Santa hats out. I want Christmas jumpers. I want Santa hats. I want you to all be tinselled to the tits. It's past 8 o'clock, so I can say that. So we shall see you all next week. And yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. And thank you again, Devin.
You're very welcome. And remember to come to Glengoyne, buy the new teapot. There you go. Plug. There you go. There you go.
Definitely. Right. Thank you, everyone.
Right. Thank you.
We'll catch you. Bye.
Bye.